Checkmating the Pen by Quentin Sanders. Introduction. The game of chess is much more than just a fun way to pass the time, it's also a lesson in history, strategy, and power. Each piece has its own unique purpose and value within the game. The king symbolizes the leader of a kingdom and its power, while the queen represents the wife to the king. The knight is a brave soldier who often attacks or defends, providing a powerful yet maneuverable presence on the battlefield. The bishop stands for religious authority and spiritual guidance within the kingdom. The castle, or rook, is a powerful piece that symbolizes the impenetrable fortress guarding the king and queen. The pawns represent common people of the kingdom who fight to defend the king and their land, even though they are the weakest pieces on the board. Each of these pieces has a unique purpose and together they form an important part of this timeless game. By understanding the roles of each piece, we can gain an appreciation for the history and importance behind chess. Chess is more than just a game, it's a reminder of how powerful individuals must work together to protect their kingdom. Or, as I like to say, chess is life. Stay on your game. Let nobody stop you from achieving your dreams. You are the king of your own kingdom and it's time to start making moves. Nothing is impossible when you put your heart and mind into it. So put on your crown and let's play. Let the game begin. Chapter 1. Imagine you've just been released from prison. You've done your time, and you're ready to get back out there in the world. But it's changed since you went in, and now the competition for work is much tougher than when you were locked up. It takes more than just raw hustle to make it in the free world. You can use your past to your advantage by leveraging the skills you've learned in prison and start a business that utilizes those skills. For example, if you went to jail for selling drugs, you could put those same hustle skills to work starting up a legitimate enterprise. One of the biggest challenges you may face when re-entering society is finding employment. You might find that many employers are reluctant to hire someone who has been convicted of a felony, even if it was years ago and they have had no legal problems since then. While your street smarts may not be seen as valuable, they can prove to be invaluable when entering the entrepreneurial world. Making sound decisions and developing an understanding of good judgment is only possible through experience, both tasks which are essential for success in this ever-changing landscape. You need to be able to think strategically and act quickly if you want to succeed in chess, business, or other areas outside of the traditional workforce. Anticipating your opponent's moves and reacting accordingly is essential for CEOs who must keep coming up with new strategies in response to market changes. If you're trying to make a living on the street, being one move ahead often means the difference between success and failure. To be successful, you must learn from your mistakes. By using past experiences as a foundation to build upon, you can set yourself up for a prosperous future in business. Adapting quickly and thinking strategically will help ensure that you are always one move ahead. To sum it up, there are plenty of similarities between the challenges you will face while playing chess in your own industry. If you want to achieve success in business or life, it is crucial to have excellent strategic skills and be able to think quickly on your feet. This book is a quest for you to become successful in life and business by taking over your industry from different perspectives. You will gain valuable insight into what it takes to achieve your goals and get started on your own quest for success. You'll learn about how we're all playing chess just on different levels and the goal is to elevate and transition to a higher level so that you can be the leader to change things, because when it comes to social and economic inequalities in society, nothing changes until we step up. As a powerful piece on the chessboard, take control of your destiny and shape your own success story. With credit, you can access investment opportunities and make money in many different ways. Whether through investments, starting or maintaining a business, renting out your space, or leveraging credit in other ways, you have the ability to take advantage of any opportunities that arise. With the right combination of intelligence, skill, and savvy investment strategies, this book will give you the guidance to make it happen. Offering an intimate peek at how successful people have achieved their goals regardless of background, if someone wants something badly enough, there is nothing stopping them but themselves from getting what they desire out of life. Do you have that one game of chess that you consider to be the most beautiful? This is the game that can teach you to recognize and appreciate the value of family and friends. If you're the king, your queen and rooks, knights and bishops are your family members, while your pawns are your friends, valuable but on the front line, acting as gatekeepers or citizens. To protect your pieces, you want to attract top talent. Showing that you value and understand these relationships can help everyone achieve their goals. You send out your rooks, knights, bishops, and queen only when you need to apply pressure to take something off the board. So, you put systems in place to automate the game so that you can go out of town and ball out. You use each piece to solve different problems from different angles. The knight is a rider that can put pressure on 4 pieces at one time, warriors. The bishops are sharpshooters and snipers, priests. The rook is the spot or the trap, castle. The queen is the all-in-one piece. She can move like a pawn, like a castle, like a bishop, and like everything but the knight. Let's start with a basic introduction to chess to make it easier for you to understand. Let's simply refresh your memory. A chess board comprises 64 square spaces. The files are the columns going up and down pointing at you. Your opponents are marked from A to H. Then there are ranks. The horizontal rows are from 1 to 8. The combination of a letter of the file and several ranks identifies each of the 64 spaces. The player with the white pieces goes first. Each chess piece has a name and specific move capabilities. Don't forget to position the board correctly before playing. Each player should have a dark square in their lower left corner when you set up the board. The king and queen enter the game. Welcome, Your Royal Highness. You only get one queen d1 for a white queen or d8 for a black queen. She's the most feared piece on the board. She captures pieces on her way by moving to their squares. The king's place is one of the 2 last empty squares e1 and e8. The king is so powerful that he sends everybody to work. The king can only move 1 square at a time horizontally, vertically, or diagonally. He can attack any piece except for the other king and queen, and that's because he can't move close enough to capture, but don't underestimate him. The first piece we're going to discuss is the rook. It's placed at the corners of the board on h1 for a1 for one player and a8 and h8 for the other. The best thing about rooks is that they can move any number of vacant squares both vertically and horizontally. If your opponent's piece blocks either of your paths, move the rook to the occupied square and there you go, another player's piece will be long gone. Remember, one important thing, rooks can't jump over pieces. That's checkers. If one of your pieces is between your rook and your opponent's piece, this move will not work. Knights are placed on squares b1 and g1 for one player and b8 and g8 for the other. Unlike rooks, knights can jump over other pieces. They're the only piece that can do that. They move in an L-shaped pattern, 2 squares horizontally and 1 vertically. Or 1 horizontally and 2 vertically. Keep in mind that knights can capture a piece only when they land on that square. Next up we have the bishops in squares c1 and f1 or c8 and f8. Bishops can move over any number of free squares in a diagonal direction. Just like rooks, they can capture an opponent's piece standing in their way by stopping on that square. Finally, we have a whole row of pawns to shield your other pieces. They take the rows from a1 to h1 for player 1 and from a7 to h7 for the other player. Pawns can move forward 1 square at a time, except the first time they move. They can go forward 1 or 2 squares on their first move, but not more than that. Only 1 square at a time for the rest of the game. Now there's one downside to pawns: if your opponent's piece is directly in front of your pawn, you can't move it forward or capture the piece. The only way for the pawn to capture the piece is when that piece is placed 1 square forward and another one to the left or right of the pawn itself. And there we have all the chess pieces. The king is irreplaceable and valuable. If you lose him, you lose the game. So, try to protect him at all costs. To win and become a true chess champion, your task is to checkmate your opponent's king. It may sound like a piece of cake, but it's way more complicated than that. Checkmate means putting the king in a position where he'll be captured because he can't move or be protected by any other piece. The more of your opponent's pieces you capture, the easier it'll be the checkmate. Just don't focus all your energy on this. Someone should properly protect your king at all times so that your opponent can't get to you. Before you checkmate them, you can only check them. This means that you should have one of your pieces within capturing range of your rival's king. In this situation, you must say check out loud to let your opponent avoid checkmate by moving their king to any free square blocking the check, by placing one of their pieces in front of the king to protect him, or capturing the piece that has placed their king in check. The same applies to you as well. If you're in danger of a check, you have the same 3 options to escape it.